Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Man Bites Media, Man Bites Film, Amazon Prime Edition. This week, in honor of our upcoming celebration of Halloween, we are delving deep into this documentary that covers one of my favorite movies of all time. This stars Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall in this stellar performance of a Stephen King novel, or kind of a retelling of Stephen King's novel. Because let's be real, it's not really his story anymore. Once the master, the greatest director of all time, Stanley Kubrick, takes over your story and makes his own interpretation of The Shining. And this is a story of it. Room 237 is the name of the documentary, and it follows the whole behind the scenes and the delving deep into the madness and psychosis that is Stanley Kubrick. Stanley Kubrick, if you don't know, is my favorite director of all time, and this documentary follows his greatest horror masterpiece, one of the greatest horror films of all time, The Shining, and it follows all the situations that Stanley Kubrick presented his actors to make them fall into character. The driving to the point and brink of madness of Shelley Duvall, to giving this child this psychosis that he refused to act any further after The Shining. And the master, of course, always puts his own little spin on certain circumstances. And this is the pinnacle of Stanley Kubrick's career. So he is the ultimate master manipulator of cinema. And some of the things, some of the situations that you see in this film are so masterful, from the editing to the music, to the cutting of certain scenes that delve and give you a different story than what you're seeing. He is playing with your mind by every scene that flashes in front of your eyes and ones that don't flash in front of your eyes. There's moments in this film where he studied a lot of manipulation of like advertisement and all that stuff, where he's able to mesmerize you with certain images and give you impressions and give you fear, give you anger, give you anxiety, just by the colors and different images that are being flashed in front of your eyes. And he plays with the American audience and the world audience in this film. And this documentary covers that, how he does that, how he studied advertisement because he wanted to learn how to manipulate people by moving images. And what he does in this film, he not only does that, but he goes into a lot of conspiracy theories, where, of course, if you haven't heard or you haven't seen the episode with Operation Avalanche, there's a huge conspiracy theory that Stanley Kubrick was responsible for faking the moon landing. And in this film, there's little hints of it, where you could kind of see where he's either really, for lack of a better word, fucking with the audience, or just playing it for laughs. Or maybe he's trying to give you a hint, like, yeah, I did this, I'm the one that did it, But it's pretty awesome the way that this documentary plays with the psychology of this film, and it gives you a very different side of this. I recommend watching The Shining, which is currently streaming on Netflix, then watch Room 237, and then watch The Shining again. You can separate it by a week or so, but honestly, you have to watch this as a companion piece. But watch it first, so when you see it, you're like, oh, yes, that's the image. And then when you rewatch it, you're like, you see that full story unfold in front of you, and you see all the points that this documentary brought. And it is incredible. There's a famous thing that I like to quote for this movie. Stanley Kubrick, he plays certain notes, but then there's notes that he hits that are those black keys, the ones in between the notes. He plays a lot of those. So it's not the white keys that everybody sees. There's the small black keys that not many people see. And that's what Stanley Kubrick does in his movies. He has the white keys, which are beautiful and incredible and shiny and just, they stand out to you. But then he has the black keys, which are the undertones, the tones that are way below your normal vision. And those are the ones that get into your subconscious and delve deep into the emotions that he presents in his films. And that is a master director, and that's a master manipulator, and that's what Stanley Kubrick is. And this documentary, Room 237, that's currently streaming on Amazon Prime, is an amazing example, and this really delves deep into the work of Stanley Kubrick. So please check it out. My name is Gecko. This is Man Bites Media, Man Bites Film, Amazon Prime Edition. If you haven't checked out our website, please check us out on manbitesfilm.com and subscribe to our podcast, YouTube channel, and everything else that we have. We have daily content on every weekday. We put up either a new video or a new podcast. So please check out all our content, and I'll see you guys next week for another episode.